Let's go!
Okie dokie.
The year is 2009. You see a commercial on TV about funny Mario game where you get bored by Bowser, and you go, "Mommy, can I go to Toys R Us?" And then something happens. And no, I'm not talking about the fat vor or inflation fetishes a whole generation of children got because of this game. Not that I'm kink shaming. But like many, Mario & Luigi Bowser's Inside Story is my all-time favorite Mario & Luigi game. By a long shot. Something about the world and the charm just captivated the heck out of little me in 2009. The sprite art, the environments, the music! It earned a special place in my heart as one of my favorite games. So you bet your butt I was ecstatic when they announced a remake in 2018. And you know. Especially since they skipped over Partners in Time. That was that happened. That was a thing. I played the Superstar Saga remake when it came out, and it was really good. It was a great remake of an already great game. All the locations were touched up beautifully, there was new 3D lighting, which was a series first, and the difficulty was even preserved, I think, unless I'm wrong, but the final boss was hard as nuts for me. In the original, I only got up about halfway through the game, and then I kind of got stuck, and then the remake came out, so correct me if I'm wrong. I might be a fake fan. The tunes were even ramped up to 11, which was really awesome. So surely, this next remake would also be the definitive way to play Bowser's Inside Story, right? Right? It would also captivate a new generation of little boys and girls and give them fat and captivate new generations of little boys and girls, right? Right? The game tanked. But why? Well, a lot of reasons that wasn't the game's fault, but looking more closely at it, well, it's definitely the superior version. It's also not, like, it's better, but also, like, worse. Some things they did better, like the obvious graphical upgrade, but others just miss. And it misses hard. Most of the animations are just not as snappy and quick like in the original. Now, I played the original like a million times, so you're probably saying, "But Ninja, you're just not used to the new physics. Stop being a boomer and play the game." Well, here's the thing. This game feels slow. Bowser's slower in the overworld, which is that makes it feel really not satisfying. Combat feels slower as well too. So many times I think I'm just gonna dodge an attack in battle, and then I get hit anyway, even though I'm so sure. Sometimes they barely even give you a window of time because they think you know what to do already. And I don't know how to explain it. But besides the graphical upgrade, the original just looked cooler in general in terms of animation. Like when Bowser punched, I felt that. When he breathed fire, oh yeah, bro, die! Which is super weird because the game can't seem to make up its mind whether it wants to be super slow or super fast. So many jokes end up missing because the comedic timing is ruined. For the most part, the sound effects and the dialogue are preserved and kept the same, like Starlo, which is really cool. I actually appreciate that very much, especially for Fawful. But if they were gonna do that, why not do it to everybody? A lot of the characters reuse the same Dream Team dialogue sound effects, which is fine, but it causes this weird style mix, and it makes the game lose its identity a little bit, especially since they've been using the same Dream Team sounds for like the past 3 games before that. The music. Oh boy, that is the sacred grail. Okay, this soundtrack is one of the most legendary Nintendo soundtracks of all time to me, so the bar was set super high in 2019. I remember when the game came out in Japan earlier than it came out in the United States, the soundtrack was posted and I was trying so hard not to spoil myself, but I ended up looking at a few anyway. It was really good. I can happily say that the music is 100% better across the board. Now, this is the definitive version of the soundtrack. There are some oddities, like the inside version of Black Beach, which sounds the exact same as the original, but I really like the original, so I'm not complaining. But also, sometimes the audio balance is a little weird and gets too loud, but otherwise, it's a genuine improvement, and I'm glad they didn't mess this part up. Series composer Yoko Shimomura never fails. But you know what they did mess up? I mean, like, screwed the pooch on? Giant battles. You know, those fights that occur every time Bowser literally tiptoes death? The first trailer on the remake had me iffy on how they'd redo that, since, well, it looks not that great, but hey, it was March of 2018 and the game was set for early 2019 next year. We got plenty of time. Okay, let me just say right off the bat, besides the fact that this looks ugly, it doesn't feel epic at all! In the original, when Bowser started growing with a low, menacing tune accompanying it, little me got chills up his spine. What was going on? What did I just do to Bowser? The game was smart with its camera angles too, putting you into the shoes of everybody witnessing this monster being born. Now, remember this was on a puny DS with weaker hardware. What's my point? Well, take the original Fawful Express for example, which I think uses these visual tricks the best. Bowser's minions just double-crossed him and literally tried to murder him. You know what's coming, but they don't. They celebrate their victory when suddenly... Now that is badass. I didn't even get to the combat, which is awesome! You tilt the DS sideways, and you use the touchscreen to attack and defend, and your usual attacks are adapted for use on the touchscreen too. Why am I telling you all this? This game came out years ago. It's almost a decade old. Topped with snappy and tight animation, all while this badass banger is playing in the background. It makes you feel like a god! Now let's look at the remake. First off, they start that music at the wrong time. I don't know why that bothers me. And they don't use the visual tricks they did like in the DS version, which is weird considering they're on stronger hardware. Bowser's a little smaller in comparison too, which it takes away from the immersion and the threat level he poses. Also, remember the animations I mentioned earlier? Yeah, that's the final icing on this undercooked cake. The combat this time, all around, is such a slog. It feels so slow, and I know I keep throwing that word around, but the controls are loose and not very tight. They make you do this finisher at the end of every fight, which on paper sounds cool, but then you factor in the aforementioned issues, and it just feels so slow. Not to mention the 3D just looks, well, just look at Dream Team, which released 5 years earlier on the same system. Yeah. Ugh. Also, why do you have to turn the 3DS the opposite way? I know Dream Team did that, but why the change? I don't understand. It's not really a complaint, it's just, okay. They did add some new stuff in this version, like for example, to recover BP, Bowser now uses cheese instead of syrup, which is, you know, that's not a bad idea. So you don't buy just tons of syrup, and because you could share them all 3 ways in the original. Yeah, that's cool. All right. The Dark Star and Fawful have their own unique battle themes. I understand why they did this. It's a critical story point, but I feel like Fawful should have kept his bass boss music because it was goofy yet serious, which I think that fit his character really well. The Dark Star music is good though. There's a new guide block that's always in combat, which can help youngsters playing, which I can appreciate. If you get a boss's health down low enough, they start to get angry, telling you you're almost there, which is a good change, but I do miss the thrill of being at low health, nearly defeated, and then all of a sudden, down they go. Oh my god, now I can take a piss. The game also has a new title screen song, which is, okay. It's good, but why not remake the original? Because it defeats the whole purpose of the main theme being in the credits. Also, on top of everything, they made this game way easier, which I don't know if it's just me. I don't. Enemies do less damage, and I could plow through the game with like no trouble at all. And they took out the challenge shell too, which, huh? I get they wanted to make it more accessible to casual gamers, or they're just insulting the intelligence of kids. But removing the only optional way to make the game harder, and of course, the Bowser in the room. The game runs at 30 FPS, which Superstar Saga ran at 60. Why take it away? Because the game was rushed. Just 5 months after the Superstar Saga remake came out, this new game was announced. That is a short window of time. I'm not sure what made them push the release so hard since Superstar Saga did maybe they wanted to tickle our nostalgia bone to get sales, but well, we all know what this game did. It double killed the 3DS and Alpha Dream. It's a shame too, since the Switch was already starting to boom. Why release this game on the 3DS? Nintendo, you are weird. You make some of the weirdest decisions ever. But I still love you. But please stop pushing your luck. Maybe a Mario and Luigi collection on Switch would have sold more. Emulators show it looks fine in higher resolution, but anyway. I still come back to this remake now over the original, just because the accessibility and the little graphical upgrade. But I can't say it's all the better. I do sometimes miss some things in the original. Maybe I'm just an old man complaining, but it's a shame. But hey, I got to rant for a good few minutes, so